So what we can do with Flash is we can create animation. All you really have to do is tell Flash where you want to start something and where you want it to end, and it will draw basically in between, or tween motion as it's known in Photoshop. I'm sorry, in Flash. So looking at our turtles here, we can see we have a big turtle and a little turtle down here. And the big turtle is layered so, and the little turtle is layered so. We can see the big turtle starts here in frame 1, and it keeps going till frame 60. But at 60, we can see it's in a different place. And you can see these little keyframes, as they're known as. Okay, a little dot with something in it tells you something's in there. And here's a new one that tells you it's really somewhere else. And just notice that's a keyframe. And what we can do between keyframes is say, well, we have our big turtle start over here on the right, and it ends on the left. You can tell Flash we want to draw all the spaces basically in between. Of course, back in the day, if you were an animator, you would have to draw a new image on each basically sheet of paper. And we see our timeline up here. We have 60 frames. Okay, and looking right over down here a little bit, our frame rate is 30 frames per second, which means at 60 frames, this little video is going to take 2 seconds to complete. If we wanted 5 seconds, we would have to go out to 150 frames or so. Let's just leave it at 2 seconds. So what we do is we have our, in frame 1, we have our turtle on the right. Frame 60, it's on the left. And I'm just going to click in between, just somewhere in between. And I want to tell it down here in the property to have a motion tween. There we go. And you can see as I do this, every single, what it's done, it's kind of said, well, gosh, we're starting here, going all the way over to here. Let me draw basically in between where it would be. So for 2 seconds, it would go from point A to point B. So it looks like that. And if you play it holding down, let's see here, Control Shift or Command Shift if it's a Mac, you can see what we get. And you see that little flash at the very beginning of the small turtle, but it quickly disappears. We'll close that. And the reason why that disappears is because that turtle is only in frame 1. So what we're going to do for the little turtle, we're going to click up here with the little turtle. We're going to click up here, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go Insert Keyframe. Now what that does is that copies what's in the previous keyframe, and in our case the previous keyframe is frame number 1 and there's a turtle there, and it makes a new it makes a new object. So Insert Keyframe. So it basically copies what's in the previous one. So there we go. So basically think of this now, we have one turtle in frame 1 and another small turtle in frame 60. And this turtle is different from the one in frame 1, so I'm going to pull him over here. There we go. Alright, and so now we see it, frame 1, and we're going to give that some tween motion as well. Now before I did it down here, that little shortcut here, I'm just going to click anywhere between 1 and 60 on the little turtle layer, and right click, and go Create Motion Tween. And there we go. And so we can see how that movie is going to look. And if we Control Enter, okay, and you can see that the little turtle's moving faster, and it's moving faster because on frame 60, you can see we put it ahead. So in order for it to go ahead, even though they had the same starting spot, the tween makes it move faster. In fact, we could even make him move faster by clicking on frame 60 and moving him off the screen, which would then look like this. There we go. And we could even move him up here to cut off the big turtle. And there we go. And obviously we don't see the turtle in the movie because we move him off of the stage, so he goes past the stage. I think that's going to do it. Go ahead and save that.